All right, climbers, this video is going to be a pretty specific approach, but I think something that you all need to think about for maybe why you aren't sending, and maybe one approach that some of you might be missing. So usually when you're not sending, you're like, my fingers are too weak, I don't have enough fitness, oh, this route doesn't suit me. It's all the other external factors that are keeping you from setting this route. And it actually might be right in front of your face, and you have all the physiological adaptations and strength that you need to send this route, but you're not thinking of a few things before you approach this thing again. And when I have this conversation with these athletes, or with athletes in consultations, or some of the ones that I coach, where it's like, I know they can boulder a certain grade, I know they have a decent pyramid of like routes that got them to this point, right? It's not like a column of just like 111A, 111B, 111C. Like they've got the fitness, they've done enough routes. They've done routes like this before. It's at the same crag. It's not like a style piece where it's like, oh yeah, I can climb 12A on sandstone, but I can barely climb 11A on limestone. We can see that for various reasons. But if people are easily able to climb 12A at their local crag or local area, and then they go try like several 12Bs in the area, or even 12Cs, and they're just completely shut down, or they keep falling at the same point, or they just feel like they can't do the thing. As a coach who knows a little bit about training and adaptation and like what athletes should or shouldn't do depending on what is written on paper, that doesn't really make sense to me. And so a couple of things that come to mind when we're thinking about this is asking yourself, like, why are you falling? It's probably a little mixture of like, oh, I'm maybe a little scared of falling, or I start to get a little like performance anxiety. I'm starting to feel like, oh, I might actually do this thing. So addressing the why and figuring out what you need to do in your climbing, even like your climb meditation or visualization. Maybe you're thinking about like keeping your heart rate down, not over gripping, like leaving a rest or leaving some sort of sequence a little bit more mentally prepared rather than just kind of shooting from the hip. Something that I think people don't utilize is the low pointing versus high pointing, right? We always start from the ground, get up as high as we can, and then fall and say, oh, okay, take, or I'm gonna hang out here and take it to the anchors for the 100th time. Let's try actually going like 4 or 5 moves below where you're falling and climbing to the anchors that way, and then picking another like full bolt down and climbing through that crux with a little bit of fatigue, gaining some confidence that you can actually do this thing rather than just getting to it from the ground every time and falling. So low pointing might get you through that hump. Another thing is like the right tactics. I know this like might seem a little commonsensical, but like, are you trying it in the sun? Are you trying it in the shade? Like, what makes the route feel better? The holds, feel better at different times of the day. Are you warming up appropriately? Like, what's happening in your day that might be preventing you from sending this thing? So thinking about like trying a different warm-up series, or maybe doing a little bit less, doing a little bit more. You might surprise yourself. And then the biggest one here is like, if you've got the right numbers, if you're sending other stuff relatively quickly at the same grade, there's no reason why this next grade should be like so much of a roadblock. Yeah, if you jump several grades, that would make more sense. But believing that you actually have the ability and the strength to do that, I'm not saying it's just gonna like magically make you send the route, but I think it's gonna go a long way getting you to send that route instead of just like keep falling at the same spot over and over and over again.